course you're going to get sued. Why wouldn't you? Like, to me, that's like that's like number three, like top three
You would
of
think,
right, like how you would like
yeah.
protect people against your digital products. Hi, everybody. This is UX Murders Mystery. I'm Eve Eden.
And I'm Brian Crowley. Eve, today we have so much tech news to talk through that hits on a lot of UX stuff, um, starting with our favorite, OpenAI. Uh,
Oh,
so I'm going to read to you. So I'm going to read you this first story. We have three stories. The first three stories are about OpenAI. I'm going to read to you
okay.
this first story, and then we can chat about it. I would love to get your reaction to this from a UX professional standpoint.
Awesome.
OpenAI is being has a lawsuit brought to them against them in federal courts start on May 10th from the Florida State mass shooting. The widow of Tiru Chaba, hopefully I'm saying that name right. The complaint alleges that the shooter exchanged more than 16,000 messages with ChatGPT, uploaded photos of his guns for identification, got operating instructions, and was told that targeting children would maximize national attention. The family's attorney calls ChatGPT a co-conspirator, and OpenAI says that the chatbot is not responsible. This is all according to NBC News.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So do they have like I guess before I start reacting to kind of the tech portion of it, do they have anything like screenshots of like the chat history or any of that public?
I don't, not that I have seen.
Okay.
I can take a quick Google through and see if there's um, any chat history. Let's see. I don't think so. I don't know that they've put that, or that I don't see screenshots that are available publicly yet, which I'm assuming might be for the sake of court records, or because this is now a ongoing lawsuit.
Yes. Okay. So what was instructed was like what you said, how like a step-by-step situation to the shooter?
Seems like it. They got operating instructions, and they were told that targeting children would maximize national attention.
Wonderful. Great. Oh my gosh. So I think to me this just kind of reminds me of Roblox and just like what happens when you don't have proper product managers building out requirements and hypotheticals. Generally, what we would do is put these in some sort of, priority list, a weighted priority list based on probably business objectives, but more so, when it comes to legal ramifications, these take generally much higher priority. And so, there would be testing, QA testing on hypotheticals. What if somebody said this? What if somebody said that? And I think what's happening is because we're racing. I love when people talk about the IA race. Where are we going?
Yeah.
What what is the end of the race? It's, let's hurry up before we fall behind. Where who's falling behind? Like what are we doing, right? From a perspective of being careless, haphazardly, and just I don't know, I just feel like we're getting pretty sloppy with products, digital products. I've been having a hell of a time with my, latest software update on my
Yeah.
phone. I'm fighting with my phone. I don't know what's happened to it. I hate texting. I hate Yeah, I don't know. Like, I can't use my phone. I was like, I thought we were supposed to, like, get better. Yeah, like, muscle memory. I'm like, "Oh, I could
Yeah.
text." I cannot text anymore. I don't know what is going on. I cannot form a proper sentence, without deleting or basically at this point, and I've noticed this, young and old are using speak to text. So there's something I think, to say about just the, um, I don't know, just like, the non-attention to detail that, we used to be so rigorous about. I mean, for God's sakes, I remember, just reading this where, there was a interaction with Steve Jobs and, like, a new, like a new employee. They were putting out, brochures for the iPod, and so he gives him a call, never talk to Steve Jobs on the phone, gives this designer a call and says, "Should we have the drop down carrots in the brochure or should we remove them?" Like that type of attention to detail. And I thought it was a cool story. But what it really was like pointing to is just the rigor of like requirements and fringe cases and documentation and understanding and just being like not dumb when it comes to building products. I mean, we have history. This like way of building things. Yeah, of course you're going to get sued. Why wouldn't you? Like, like to me, that's like that's like number three, like top three
You would
of
think,
right, like how you would like
yeah.
protect people against your digital products.
Unfortunately, in our country, the Second Amendment is has a lot of proponents for it. I can see the argument for, well, what if somebody wants to identify what type of gun type they have, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, sure. But these are so specific, and this is so specific uh, to having ill intent, um, that you would think that like this would have flagged something. Like you would at least, again, this goes down to like a moderation problem of like,
Yeah,
that there are no humans in the loop on any of this, and the humans that are in the loop on all of this are overseas somewhere in some data center, that where they're not being, where they have no they probably have no uh real attachment to the outcome, right? So
right.
I don't know.
Here's a direct quote. The chatbot then allegedly explained how to use this firearm, telling him that the Glock had no safety
Yeah,
and that it was meant to be fired quick to use under stress, advising him to keep the finger on the trigger until he was ready to shoot.
yeah. And it's sad enough like that we're in a space where people can easily buy and create like modification to make semi-automatic weapons automatic. They can buy buy and print out 3D printed weapons that we've seen that
Right.
has happened, right? But this is not where, Eve, guess what? This is not all of the edge cases that OpenAI has missed, because uh, there's another one where 2 days later, a Texas couple sued OpenAI and Sam Altman personally in San Francisco. Their 19-year-old son died after ChatGPT apparently recommended a mix of uh, Xanax, kratom, which I've never heard of before, and Benadryl. The mother's quote is that if ChatGPT had been a person, it would have been behind bars today. OpenAI says it was an earlier version that is no longer available. And this is from CBS News.
Earlier version that was no longer available, but he was still on it. Right, so how does that work? Generally, these things,
Right,
like, if you're on a version, that's like a error case, right? So,
right.
if you can't access what is it, offline? I don't understand. Like, I can go back to versions, but, like, look at what Microsoft's doing. It's, like, so where it forces you to update to a point where, what was that, show it was on where they were at NASA? There was a Microsoft update and, yeah, and it was just this kinda, like, bit, like, "Damn it, Microsoft," like, in the middle of, like, a launch.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so, I just these are where, like, the thoughtfulness and understanding, like, this is where a team of, UX designers and product managers would come together, and in the discovery phase of the design process, we would build out a list, right, of
Absolutely.
the features and requirements for each feature. And
Mhm.
what we would do is then um, prioritize why these are important based on business values, mission, whatever. But also, from a legal standpoint, there would be someone on the legal team weighing these lists out together. This isn't like some haphazardly way of building products. There's like order, reason, and logic to how we build things in order for obviously you guys to use it, or for it to work properly. But then it's when the edge cases are there, they're also for protection, well, for the company and of course for the individuals. Like, that is just a part of building products. I mean, this is just a part of even physical products too,
Well,
right?
and
Like, to help people.
well, it makes you wonder this, is it makes me wonder, all these companies that have contracts with ChatGPT and OpenAI, what's
Mhm.
going to happen? There are a lot of pharmaceutical companies that have um, contracts with OpenAI, lots of legal companies that have contracts with OpenAI. What's going to happen when something goes wrong internally? What's going to happen when one of those pharmaceutical companies is somebody is using ChatGPT or an AI and it tells them the wrong combination of chemicals? What's going to happen when we know that the government has had involvement? What happens if, like, there's a weapons manufacturer and they you know get told the wrong type of weaponry mix or the wrong type of input into you know strikes on targets? Like,
Yeah.
this could be incredibly bad news.
Right. So what you're talking about is pharmacists basically creating like formulas, right? And so having using chat to possibly assist them
Yeah.
in, building like a compound.
Part of the big benefit that people have talked about that have been promoting AI have been like, oh, this could really help with creating cancer fighting drugs, or they can create, and there's truth to that. But if there aren't guardrails on this, what happens if, you create some kind of horrible toxin or you create some kind of virus?
Right. Yeah, because I think what is could happen too is like a hallucination that we've all experienced with chat,
Yeah.
right, can generate probably something extremely convincing, but
Yeah.
incorrect or unsafe from like a formula perspective.
Yeah.
And also, like, remember, like, what it makes, I've seen these videos of chat chat GPT being made fun of, or maybe it was Claude, for really thinking, I'm gonna go and race, I'm gonna like right now just get out, leave the house and run for a mile and come back, time me. And then he basically just stopped, or, didn't have any time
Yeah.
elapse, and said, I'm back.
Yeah.
And chat went, it's been 7 minutes and 48 seconds, or whatever he said. So that what that shows, and this is something I knew because it wasn't, when I would ask for a date or time, it didn't know when we were talking. So there was no timestamps knowledge. I did ask the other day what time it is, and it knew where I was, or what time it was in my, time zone, but no real-time knowledge. So think about this. It may not have like even the latest FDA approval information, right, to receive updates from like a drug standard. So these are things where um, there's more harm than good that I feel like when you are at, especially in these cases where it's professional, like cases of almost life and death, um, that need to be have more rigor around them.
Um,
Besides the data privacy piece, like I from my understanding, one of the reasons why people are building these chats as well, it like Copilot is being introduced to obviously like Microsoft environments. And so people want the employees to help build that bot in order for the company to have like for instance what they're doing, and I don't know if this is still a thing, but we just read a story about emails being sold, transcripts on Slack, Jira tickets and
yeah.
Confluence pages being sold
Yes.
to like build their AI agents.
Yeah. Well, and that actually leads us into our third story, which is another OpenAI lawsuit that has been filed, a class action suit that's been filed this week, accuses OpenAI of secretly sharing ChatGPT user queries with Meta and Google through embedded
I just read about
trackers
this.
without their consent.
What do you mean? What does that mean? The embedded trackers? Do we have more information around that?
This is according to Yahoo Finance.
As you're doing that, so what I'm thinking is, and we've touched on this before, of like data being so the Roomba data, right? We were talking about Roomba like several episodes ago, being such like a gold mine of data for, let's say, Amazon to purchase. And that was blocked by, I believe, the federal government. Is that what we reported on?
I think
And
so.
so Amazon could not buy Roomba data. This is just a vacuum, right? But what it was doing was mapping out um, people's homes, frequency of cleaning, and who knows what other information. I think it was like mapping frequency of cleaning and um, yeah, just square footage of the home. And they
Okay.
didn't want Amazon to know about it.
Okay, so this is what the complaint alleges, according to Yahoo Finance. The filing centers on tracking technology that Meta and Google supply to website and operators for analytics and ad targeting, according to the complaint. OpenAI embedded code into its ChatGPT site that allowed it to transmit user information automatically. The plan said that they disclose data including query topics, account identifiers, email addresses tied to individual users. The case argues that consumers had reasonable privacy expectations when using the chatbot. Many people have shared sensitive financial, medical, and legal questions there. The complaint cites a Cyberhaven report estimated that around 1% of data employees uh, paste into ChatGPT is confidential. Just as an aside, I would never paste any confidential information or personal identification information into ChatGPT or any bots. That is a
Yeah.
terrible, terrible idea.
Yeah,
Uh,
so I
yeah,
think there's something to be said about that because I've had conversations in circles of like, what are you talking to these chatbots about? I don't
yeah.
know if you've had discussions. Mostly it's medical history, legal advice, and kind of therapy sessions. This is like primarily what people are doing with the chat.
Well, interesting that you say that because that leads right into our fourth story. Uh, the character.ai is getting sued in Pennsylvania on May 5th after a state investigator found a chatbot named Emil with 45,000 user interactions was claiming to be a licensed psychiatrist with a fake Pennsylvania medical license number. Governor Josh Shapiro called it a first of its kind enforcement action. The company says its disclaimers make it clear that the characters are fictional, according to NPR. So, to your point, and yes, this has become a thing where people are starting to use these bots as therapists, which is
Are
not
you
great.
real? Are we surprised? Therapy sessions cost, anywhere from like 100 to 150 an
Yeah,
hour, and we need to like kind of get that type of help. And so if the data is saying that people need medical advice, legal advice, and counseling,
yeah,
what does that say about our society? Either we can't afford these things and we're afraid to go to professionals to get them, or there's something else happening, right? So, I mean, there's just obviously, I'm just kind of being facetious too, but there's something going on when you're talking about, going to, let's say, this kind of free way of getting unsolicited or just advice in general. I mean, where did you go beforehand? What did you do?
I mean, well, I mean, before that, remember people would call it Doctor Google and do WebMDs, and there was the whole joke about everything being cancer because like every time you'd look up WebMD and say, "Oh, I have a bump" or whatever, like it'd be like people would see oh well bumps are common with cancer, blah 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 blah,
Right,
and to be honest, I think the cost is a big part of it. I think that people not being able to afford something and then seeing something free or
right,
what they perceive to be free because they perceive ChatGPT and these other LLMs to be free, then they think that they're getting free legal advice, therapy, medical, which is just such a bad idea. If you are watching or listening to this, do not do this. Please do not do this.
right.
Don't use it for tax advice either. Don't use it for financial advice. It is not it is but all of those things, Eve, they're cost prohibitive. I don't know about you, but like now as a man in my 40s, I can afford to have these conversations with people of those professions. But when I was in my 20s, I couldn't. I certainly
Right.
couldn't. So
Yes. And if latest stats, at least the last time I looked at them, the medium income in America is like around $65,000,
oh really?
right?
Yeah.
Yes. So half the people in America, so if it's still 350 million, are being paid over that, and half are being paid under,
Wow.
right? So
Yeah.
why are we surprised? And so with that, like again, we're deducing based on data, right? These are analytics that are public knowledge based on data. If those are the top three prompts, right? Those types of prompts, then the user experience team or the product team at ChatGPT and these other chatbots would say, how do we protect the public when they prompt these types of queries,
Yeah.
right? And then if they do, what do we say? Do we have canned responses? Do we put lead them into right like another pathway in order for them to get the help they need? Right. That's the and so in this case of what this guy was typing in, the first case that you brought up, that is like immediately like, do you need help? Would you could you call a certain line to kind of talk through what's going on because you're prompting in this way. And that would prevent people from entering anything into chat, into any bot, because they know, well, already your internet address is being captured, and now your prompt is being captured because it's public, right? So those are things that are preventative. These are things that we can publicly, announce to anyone that prompts in this way. Here's a pathway towards that. And so those are, again, a part of the discovery process in the design. When you're designing products, we would do testing and find out, how would people use this chatbot?
Yeah.
What would people enter? Right. And then we take that data and say, now that we have, let's say in this case, hypothetically, top three things that people would ask about: legal, medical, and therapy. Let's build pathways to help people through whatever they're going through.
So I wanted you, if you don't mind, I want to just do a quick fact check on us.
Sure.
Uh, so I just wanted to check, and it looks like in the US, according to the census.gov, uh,
Yes. Tell me.
the household income, median household income is $83,000. The median personal income, that's where the shift is a lot different, is 45, it's roughly $45,000.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
think I looked up, maybe it was like small business bureau, but great. Thank you
Yeah.
for checking on that.
Yes, no worries.
And it's eye-opening. Are you
Oh,
not surprised?
oh, totally. I thought when you said 65, I felt like 65 felt a little high, but I figured, oh, it could be balanced. That could balance out. But it's low for households, and but it's high for individuals. So that's, you know, that might be the median that you might have had. Maybe that was the split between the middle. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I was surprised that it was pretty low,
Yeah,
especially for the standard. Obviously this is nationwide, but it's pretty rough out there.
yeah.
So, I think, to go back to the previous story,
About the
do
fake
y-
psychiatrist.
yeah, do you feel like, and this is where that rigor of interviews are starting to come in, right? Where people are asking, the questions that are being asked of them, are they're being prompted at the same time. Have you seen this? Where
No.
people are answering their interview questions with a bot, kind of like on another laptop. And so as the questions are being asked of them during the interview, they're kind of reading a script off. And I didn't know if that was real or fake. But
What?
yeah, but it's another type of deceivement. Is like, do you have this experience? Can you give us an example of a day, when
Yeah.
this happened or something?
So there, so you're asking me a question. I'm typing a question into a bot and then reading off the bot's response to you.
Yes.
Like that's what's
During
happening.
during the interview process. Yes.
That seems like an awful, awful thing. That seems, not only does that seem like an awful thing to do in terms of uh as an interview procedure, but that does not seem like an effective strategy to try to get a job.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Right. And then you have the rigor of, students, right? So I think somebody had asked, I was at one of the universities nearby here in Nashville, and they said, what do you guys, what's the policy around using, chat bots for your capstone projects?
Yeah.
And they said, from just like, again, this was just a broad understanding. They said that you are not, if there is any evidence that you've written or have taken any language directly from a chatbot, you would not only be disqualified from the capstone, I think you would be kicked out of the university, and you actually almost aren't allowed to apply to any other kind of education institution, which I thought was wow, that's like incredible, because they're taking it that seriously. That was the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah, that is pretty that is pretty interesting. Um, what do you think of? It sounds like I haven't played. Have you played around with character.ai, or do you know anything about character.ai?
I haven't used character.ai. I did use when Figma last year. I don't know if you remember, I was like attending virtually and Figma had announced Dot. Do you remember Dot?
No. What's
It's
that?
an AI that basically is kind of like acting like your best friend.
Oh,
Um, and I don't know what happened to it, but I remember obviously they announced it at Figma. And so Dot was a almost like a first of its kind where it was you know, you could chat with it. Let me see if I can find more about it. I haven't used it for a while, but I was just curious. Like it was before you know, again, this is last year, so it was
yeah.
kind of before this kind of new wave of products have come out where now you have, you know, all these like different chats that can do different things for you.
I have heard that character.ai. I have heard that some people have, or has been used by um, some people where they're like using it for uh, romantic companionship and that type of thing, which is very bizarre. Like the movie Her, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to the next story?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, Meta is now threatening to leave New Mexico. A New Mexican jury, a jury in New Mexico ordered Meta to pay $375 million in March for violating the state's child safety laws. The state is now demanding that real product changes, and Meta's response is that demands are impossible, and if forced, the company may pull Facebook and Instagram out of New Mexico entirely, which I don't fully understand what that means. I don't think that they're headquartered there. So I guess they're just saying people in New Mexico won't have access to
They,
Facebook and Instagram. I don't fully know. That's according to uh, CNBC.
okay. So now the states are kind of acting almost like the countries that we've heard of that don't have access to TikTok or Facebook, right? Or
the,
Instagram.
the ones that start to like tighten up the reins and say, we're not allowing this to happen. Our rules are tighter, and then some of those countries have that problem. Yeah.
Okay. So and their logic behind denying, let's say, the Americans that live in New Mexico software that they want to use is what? Like what's the primary like
It seems as
use
though they're
case?
it seems as though they're basically saying they don't want to pay the damages to the lawsuits because the jury has ordered that they pay 375 million, and so for violating their child safety laws. And Meta is basically deciding, nope, we're just going to stop servicing you. We're going to stop serving this product, which does not seem like that would be a way to get around that law anyway. So does not
Okay.
seem it doesn't seem like it would save you any type of money. Like you're still gonna have to pay the damages if you're not gonna make product changes. Like what happens if the state of Illinois or California or any of the other states decide to follow suits? Like
Right. Yeah. So it's almost like big tech is really trying to flex their muscles here with like how the government wants to handle them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this case a few weeks ago when we heard that Meta and Google, Meta and YouTube were on trial and they won. And but I would say, yeah, what it feels like is, don't you feel like what this is, there's a little bit of child's play here? It just feels like y- you're reacting based like without full thought, like like almost like a reflection of what what your decision is by saying these public statements, and then like what the repercussions would be.
Yeah.
It feels like almost like a knee jerk reaction, I guess that's what I mean, is instead of like really thinking about like what this means. And w- I wonder if this is not connected to, just being, just kind of juvenile in its the longevity of a company, the longevity of like a CEO, the board, whoever's on the board. It feels like it's just there's like this naive, um, what's like a better criticism? Just like
It's short-sighted.
thoughtlessness,
It's short-sighted. It's thinking about it. It's like
short-sighted.
you said, they're gaming out. It's almost like it's the yes man syndrome where whomever is in the room with Zuckerberg is not telling him like, hey, we need to make these product changes because you can't pull out of all 50 states, and if all 50 states come after you, like you can't do it on a state. Just because you're not getting hit federally right now doesn't mean
Right.
that each state isn't gonna start to do it. You're not going to be able to stop, like you're not going to be able to cut your $370 million or $75 million loss and then just pull out of the state. Like it just doesn't make any sense. It seems
Yeah.
like pretty bad. It seems like pretty bad advice versus like having like a long term strategy to protect children on your platforms. Like you would think that that would be the better way to go.
I mean, I'm thoroughly disappointed in how like the maturity level of company leaders and even government officials are. It's like we've kind of lost the essence of greatness and just like, I don't know, loyalty, just being virtuous and just, you know, thinking of people first. Instead, it just feels super self-centered.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have, and probably you can tell on my face, there's like definitely disdain in what you're saying, in multiple ways. And I think for me, it's one is the short-sightedness of like the public statement.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, it's the idea again. It just goes back to the whole like. It doesn't seem like there's anybody who's pushing back, right? It doesn't seem like there's any leaders or any like board members or anybody inside that company who's just saying no and pushing back.
Right.
But yeah, um, so there's another quick lawsuit. This is a quick one that I want to mention, which is that Apple is now paying a $250 million to settle a class action suit over Apple Intelligence Siri features it advertised during iPhone 16 launch and then never shipped. So class members of this class action lawsuit are getting $25 per device, scaling up to 95. Apple is denying any wrongdoing. This is according to MacRumors, uh,
Okay.
May 5th.
So what's Apple Intelligence?
Apple Intelligence is just their AI Siri. So it's just
Yeah, I mean, I've used it, I have it.
yeah,
I've tried to figure out, like, what is it, right? Because what they did is, because I have the iPhone 16, and so that
yeah,
came with Apple Intelligence. So then I asked, "What is it?"
yep,
And, really the understanding was Apple Intelligence is a feature that can identify whatever picture, or I think it's only a photo, not video, of what you're taking, and then do a search on the web of other things, other images like it. So if you take a picture of like this shirt,
yep.
and you want to, let's say, buy this shirt, then the intelligent part of it is it will pull up other identical shirts like that for you to take a look at.
It also looked like it could Apple Intelligence. One of the things it could do with using your shirt as an example is after you took the photo, if you wanted the shirt to be black or green or whatever instead of red, you could easily change the color.
Change it.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I think I remember that feature, and I could never get it to do it.
yeah.
I couldn't.
I
Another thing it did is identify plants and flowers, so that was nice whenever I needed, like, there was something I wanted to see.
I will say that I feel like if you go back to the initial commercials about Siri, they were always over promising and under delivering. I remember there was a commercial, I want to say it was like with Samuel L. Jackson or something, where it was like him casually chatting with Siri and Siri able to do all these things. And I don't think to this day, I think that if I were to like record a commercial like that, or if I were to take my phone right now and ask Siri to do all the things that he had requested in the commercial, I'd like to test it, but I'm pretty sure it still can't do all that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Yeah,
I still try. I have Not only do I have Siri on my phone, which my daughter's name is Serene, and so she's always prompted by that. She's definitely gets triggered.
I,
Um,
I hate I hate the number of times that Siri fires up when I do not want Siri to be shooting up. It's like
yeah,
ridiculous. Yeah,
right. I also have Google Home, which actually just made a new update to Gemini. And so
yeah,
now, one point, like, you had Google Home and you wanted it to prompt you for, let's say, what you typically do at home. I'm cooking. I need a recipe. Tell me the ingredients. Tell me, like, what the temp of, like, the oven should be, right? Like, these are kind of the common, that's what I mean, is these common use cases are all being documented. And it's like the simple step-by-step process can't even be done correctly. And
right.
so as I was, like, using Gemini on Google Home, um, it finally will tell you the step, remember the last thing it told you, and if you prompt it again, it will continue to the next step, which I was like, bravo, good job for, $300 for a speaker
That's awesome.
to read off recipes.
Um, well, the final thing that we should talk about is we have to talk about. This is my favorite thing that happened within the last 2 weeks. GameStop's CEO can't explain his own deal, and then eBay eventually said no. So GameStop uh, has been valued around $12 billion, and randomly they announced unsolicited a $55.5 billion bid for eBay on May 3rd. And then the CEO, Ryan Cohen, went on CNBC's Squawk Box.
Sort of walk us through how you could get to that price and how it would work.
So on our website, it's half cash, half stock, but the details are on our website.
And could not explain the math at all. He just seemed to kind of continuously um, go in a loop and kind of like continue to just tell them to look at the numbers and look at the stock, which made no sense. And the poor anchors kept trying to say, we don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. Like, none of this math is adding up at all.
We're now at 40, but we're still off by, call it 16. And the 20, as far as I understand, while it's considered a highly confident letter, meaning TD saying they're highly confident that they would provide the financing, it's not locked financing.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I hear you. I understand that. I'm just trying to understand where the rest of the money would come from.
It's half cash, half stock.
Michael Burry, who's infamous for being in the movie The Big Short, the next days later, he sold his GameStop position, and his warning was never confuse debt for creativity. And then Cohen then listed personal eBay items on eBay, including socks, to quote, fund the deal. And then eBay suspended his accounts.
I'm talking about. Like, Brian, what's happening to our culture? Like, I know the Gen X and millennials are growing up. I'm kind of scared. Like, who's going to take over? Like, continue, as the boomers kind of phase out.
I mean,
Lordy. It's like
so
Lord of the Flies.
So then on Tuesday, eBay's board unanimously rejected the offer, calling it neither credible nor attractive. The chairman, Paul Pressler's letter cited uncertainty around the financing, operational risk, and an pointed jab, GameStop's governance and executive incentives. eBay also took the unusual step of filing the supporting letter from TD Securities with the SEC because GameStop had left that document out of its own public disclosures. I also saw that the CEO that went on I think Piers Morgan and said that eBay was filled with stupid people. So it is quite a mess. Eve, what was your reaction when you saw this fella talking on CNBC about this deal?
Yeah, I mean, so when I did watch the clip, there were I was just waiting, right? There was kind of like some weird moments where I believe uh when they were kind of talking about the proposal and kind of like the 50-50 mix of, I think he was like talking about cash and stock.
Right.
Well, first of all, there was just like lots of like dead noise. Like it was just radio silence in like lots of parts of the interview. So I thought that an ad was coming into the interview or something was taking over because I just thought the interview was like either over or I'm about to listen to some, ad, and then realized that everybody was just holding their breath. Because they were laughing
Yeah.
or didn't know what to ask next because of just the awkwardness of the announcement. There was like, I think several times where there was like a nod to eBay, like getting the intent, like we're here to announce this so we can get the attention of eBay, and that and it wasn't like he was, what is that called when generally you have like a coach to prep you on how to interview well? Before you get on like public forums and, make these grand
Like a
announcements.
media training type thing.
Media training. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. As soon as I watched a little bit of it, it really like was obvious that this person did not get that media training or just completely just bypassed it. it was like the strangest announcement in my mind, just because the answers were short. They kind of didn't make sense.
Right.
A lot of it was assumed that we all knew this general knowledge of like how eBay, functions, and how GameStop functions, and who this person is. And
Right.
so it just felt really odd. It was an odd interview, just in general, or announcement.
It struck me as, because it's such an insane idea, because again, GameStop is valued at $12 billion, right? And eBay is valued at much more, right? Even if they were saying that they were going to buy eBay for at 55 billion, it's like, okay, well, clearly eBay is worth way more than GameStop. So it's an insane notion. You never have a smaller company doesn't typically buy a bigger company. That is just not a thing that just typically happens. Um, uh, so that's one thing. And then the other thing that struck me as was like, this just a ploy for this guy to like gain attention? Was this like a marketing strategy? Was this like a thing where I mean, obviously the thought was that they were going to try to get eBay's attention for eBay to seriously consider this bid. But it just struck me as like a weird kind of like more of a marketing move than an actual serious proposal.
Yeah, I really think something about them, that media trading was not like, it wasn't gelling, because the
Yeah,
way Ryan Cohen was kept saying, I'll do whatever it takes. Like, right, there was just these like weird statements. Like, it was like he was talking to, like, it was a sidebar conversation at a bar, right? Like, we're
right,
talking amongst each other, instead of, if
right.
you're not on a public platform, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what does whatever it takes mean? Like, explain. And I think that's where it was just really odd. It was a lot of assumptions, and then there wasn't no the explanation as they were asking questions to just broaden what it is you're saying. I just feel like, well, if you can't answer these questions, where's your CFO? What, or put someone on that actually knows like how to answer these types of questions, because this isn't like there's a script. It's not like you're just like going in and just gonna ask you random questions. Like, what they're gonna ask.
I really like uh there's these two anchors, Ali Velshi and Stephanie Rule, and they are like really good business folks. And I feel like if he had been on their show and spoken with them, they would have gone up to like your whiteboard, Eve, and they would have like done the math on the whiteboard and said, like, make this make sense, right? And instead, like, the anchors were kind of like, so just to be a little critical of them, they were so playing the game of appeasement instead of like challenging this, which I feel like if you're trying to feed information to people, you should really be challenging it overtly and not playing so nice. Because I
I
felt
I
like,
mean, I found it like a complete waste of my time too. Like,
yeah,
the entire interview is just a waste of time, a waste of energy, to focus on what not only the reporters were gathering, like what data they were gathering, which was honestly barely anything, and then the person that's being interviewed is obviously either like, doesn't know the answers, doesn't want to answer them. And so like the interview's it was like over in like a minute and a half. I feel like even the intro was odd. Like,
yeah,
I felt like that immediately, but even the intro of like him not even think I don't I noticed this. He didn't even thank people for being on the show. It was just like, hey, like,
right.
that was it. It was so weird, and I only watched this once, and I think I watched this a couple of weeks ago, right? When we saw it, at the beginning of May, and so I still remember that. It's like, who is this guy?
Well,
Like,
and
what am I about to see?
Well, and also just as an aside, like GameStop is a video game company. They sell video games, toys, and T-shirts. They have a number of SKUs, right, of stuff that they get. They get stuff from everything that they source is from third parties, right? Third parties that supply them and then they sell it. eBay is gigantic. eBay is gigantic. eBay sells cars. eBay sells every fucking thing. Like eBay is just a huge monster of a company. So the idea that this guy, like, it's just bananas. It's
I mean, it really is like, Brian, I do almost have like embarrassment for just my own generation that we have people that are acting like this. Like, this is like, to me, I almost take responsibility too. Like, I have kids, and so it's like, don't act dumb, right? Like, this is how we don't behave, right? Like, we teach each other and refine each other so we can obviously kind of put out into the world whatever. I don't You're the CEO of GameStop, great, but at least have some like just common sense of like having people around you that can give you a real world picture of what you're like putting out there. Because I mean, it's just, w- what's your reason? Like, what's your if you're not kind of putting good out there, what is it that you're doing?
I
It
think
just feels like wrong.
the only thing I can think is like he's hoping in a year or two from now he'll be on like Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. This is where, I cannot relate to some of the things that we're seeing, right? Like, to me, it's the,
Yeah.
how's Facebook or Meta is, reacting to New Mexico, what GameStop CEO Ryan is doing. Like, it just feels like, people that have not grown up.
Yes.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like this adult-like behavior. It's like we're missing like a slice of it, and we're just all functioning in this way. And yeah, we need to be held responsible. I want you to hold me responsible for acting like a dumbass too. Right? Like, it's like it goes both ways, right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel also responsible for the actions we're doing, because then guess what? The next generation's just watching, picking it up, and they're, may behave even poorly, which is scary.
Yeah. Well, uh, as we wrap up the show, anything else to mention or plug, Eve?
If you guys have any questions, or even comments, obviously you can leave them here on YouTube. If you're on the other platforms like Apple and Spotify, you can also reach out to us at questions@uxmurdermystery.com. We always love to hear from you guys. So
And Eve and I will be at Config in San Francisco. So
that's right.
come if you're there, come connect with us. Come message us, and if you're gonna be there, like yeah, let's connect.
Yeah, that is end of June or third week of June, June 23rd through the 26th, somewhere around there.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, you guys. Take care.
Like, subscribe, and follow, or become our next victim of bad UX.
UX Murder Mystery is a joint production of Eve, User Experience Design Agency, and Crowley UX, where systems meet stories. It's hosted by Brian J. Crowley and Eve Eden. Edited by Kelsey Smith. Intro animation and logo design by Brian J. Crowley. Music is by Nicholas Lee. You can follow us at UX Murder Mystery. You can email us at questions@uxmurdermystery.com. UX Murder Mystery is a copyright 2025, Brian J. Crowley and Eve Eden. Thanks for listening.